Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Playbook with Paul LaPolice, your home for elite CFL breakdown and analysis. Today, we're going to talk about the Edmonton Elks. Have they done enough? What can they do to turn this thing around, put themselves in position of the playoffs, struggle the last couple of years? So let's open the playbook to the Edmonton Elks. First and foremost, please subscribe to the page. It's going to give you notifications anytime we post new stuff. There's not a lot of CFL content out there, so if you subscribe, it lets me know you're watching. And the other thing, I'm trying to do this as I continue to get my work done at TSN, so I'm going to try to make sure I can plan to do a couple of these a week as I do my workload preparing for football games. All right, Elks. Last year, how did it go? 2 points. Obviously, the schedule. They started out 0-9, struggled, very much so early in the season. Then Trey Ford, in the middle of the season, Trey Ford gets opportunity to start. They win 4 out of their next 6 games, and in the middle of the season, that was a very good spark. They finished with losing their last 4 to finish the season at 4-14. But I think Trey Ford was an interesting watching him play. He added a spark, obviously. 67% completion, very good for a young quarterback. 12 out of 12 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Another great thing for a young quarterback. And his off-schedule plays are dynamic. It is amazing to see him scramble around and make plays. And his ability to use his legs and then throw the ball downfield was spectacular last year. Okay, from a coaching standpoint, what are my thoughts? A couple of things I think about is, did they do enough to help this defense? The defense struggled, was in the bottom half of the Canadian Football League in a lot of categories. Now they're very young. You got a lot of second-year players, very young defense, and they lose some big-time players in Serezna and AC Leonard. So I guess that's a question for me. They're still young. Have they got enough talent on defense to move from the bottom of the statistical category up to one of the better defenses in the league? And I think, secondly, I'm really interested to see how the offensive coaches uses Trey Ford. They're going to have him obviously in short yardage. Are they going to keep him in after? How are they going to get him some touches? Because he might be one of their most dynamic football players. I get the signing of McLeod Bethel-Thompson. I get that he might give them the best opportunity as a veteran quarterback to win football games right now. So I understand that move. But you still got to find a way to get Trey the football. And that's something, I tried to do with Chris Streveler. Once he showed up in the building and Matt Nichols got healthy, I was like, we still got to get this kid the ball. However we can find opportunities. So I'm looking from a coaching standpoint to see how they do that. Now, stats. I got good news and bad news here. And we're going to talk about the good news first. Red zone offensive scoring, right? First in the Canadian Football League. Now, this is a team that was 9th in the CFL in offensive points per game. But when they got to the red zone, 67% scoring, the best in the Canadian Football League. That's amazing. Here's the bad news. They never got there. They only got there into the red zone, 37 times. No other team in the CFL was underneath 40. The lowest the CFL team was 47 opportunities. They only had 37, so they never got there. Even though the Bombers at tops in the league went there 70 times. So obviously an area improvement for them, but I noticed that in the stats. The other thing in the stats I really like is Kevin Brown, second in the CFL in rushing, one of the top explosive runners in the Canadian Football League in explosive runs. Looking forward to seeing him paired up with McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Roster-wise, a couple of points on the roster. I already mentioned it defensively. How are you going to replace AC Leonard and Jake Serezna? Those 2 players were tied for second in the Canadian Football League in sacks last year. With each of them had 12. So you got 24 sacks going out the door. It'd be interesting to see how the roster shakes out to fix that. Javon Leake, I really like the signing of him. He's going to make that punt return and kickoff return team play much harder. They're going to have faith and belief in the guy behind him. And that means a lot for those guys when they know they've got a returner back there who can take it to the house at any time. Just really hasn't been in the Elks repertoire for a long time. And I guess the only other roster thing is this offensive line, it's going to be a little bit different with it pure pocket passer. They need to step up and give him time, McLeod Bethel-Thompson time this year. So it's not like Trey Ford is going to be able to run around and avoid players coming through. They got to be really stout on the offensive line. I'm looking to see what they do. And then see how they come out of this. They play Saskatchewan early for a couple of games. So it'll be interesting to see how this young team goes. A lot of pieces stayed, especially on defense. Looking forward to seeing the Elks this season.